There are many reasons why you would decide to live abroad, either for work, study, a fresh start, or just a better quality of life. And it can be a scary decision to make, but living abroad can really shape you as a person and give you a different outlook on life. Firstly, you're going to be definitely stepping out of your comfort zone. After high school, I got accepted into my Applied Sciences University in the Netherlands. And I remember before leaving, my friends did a little surprise goodbye get-together for me because I'm gonna leave the country for an unknown amount of time and I don't know if I'm gonna even come back. It was really cute, sweet, and unexpected. And one of my friends asked me, I can't imagine doing something like this by myself. Are you nervous to be leaving? Nervous? I feel freaking petrified. I have no idea what I'm doing. Before and during the trip to the Netherlands, there was a lot of confusion and unknowingness about how and where I'm gonna live. I never visited the city before, and to be honest, I didn't even know that Dutch is a language. I had no idea what language they speak in the Netherlands, but I would never guess that it was Dutch. I went to study in the Netherlands because I knew that I wanted to study abroad and study in English, and UK was way too expensive. I really liked the program and I got accepted, so I couldn't say no. But this was a big step for me because I was really relying on my parents at the time. They were making me food and doing my laundry, and now I was in a new city, new country where I didn't speak the language. I had to figure out how to live on my own and sustain myself. It might all sound overwhelming, and it might be, but if you are a student just like I was, then you'll meet a lot of people that are in the same boat as you, so it's not gonna be that bad. Secondly, it will never feel like home. Well, that's not entirely true. In my first year in the Netherlands, I was feeling homesick quite often, and being there was fun, but I just didn't feel like I belonged. And yet in my first year when I went back home for Christmas, all I would talk about was the Netherlands, and so Latvia also didn't really feel like home. When I was feeling homesick, I would cook buckwheat and play Russian music to make me feel better. And so after 1 year of living in the Netherlands, I kind of understood the gist of it. I made some friends, and I attended some clubs like dancing and theater that made me feel like I was in the right place. And now from this experience, I would say that my definition of home changed. Now home is where I make it to be. Home is where my friends and family is, but also home is where I am, if I want it to be. Living abroad is quite isolating, especially the first year of your relocation. For students, it can be a bit easier because, as I said before, there's a lot of people in the same boat as you. So you can make a lot of good friends by just because you're in the same circumstances. But for expats, it can be a bit trickier. However, if you're a student or an expat, I would highly recommend joining some kind of club or an association or some kind of activity that people do multiple times throughout the month so that you can talk to people and make friends that have the same interests as you. When I was living in Slovakia alone as an intern/student, I joined dance classes and I joined an improv team. Even though at improv I could have made better connections because we actually have to talk to each other, I had to quit it since I didn't have the money to do it. But at the dance classes I did meet some new people. If you live in a big city, there's most likely an expat community where you can start making connections. They're also in the same situation as you, so you'll probably find people to talk to. Language is a big barrier if you decide to live in a country where you don't speak it. In the Netherlands, everybody speaks very good English, and their movies play in English. But if you want to fully integrate into their country, you of course need to learn their language, or at least try. But it's easier said than done. I took some Dutch classes, and in the beginning, there were around 30 people, a room full of students excited to learn Dutch. But after like a half a year, there were only 3 people left, and it was a bit awkward. The teacher also wasn't the greatest. He was a bit too talkative, therefore we had less time to talk about grammar and practice our Dutch. So it all came down to how you studied outside of class. I know that's how it usually goes, but learning a language is quite time-consuming and it has to be your priority. You really need to prioritize it, and at the time I was focusing on developing other skills like video editing and graphic design, and therefore Dutch was shifted to the back end. Some people I know did learn Dutch, and now they're happily integrated into their society and they can add it to their resume, which is a great plus. But if you're someone that kind of already knows the language because you studied it in school, you'll be surprised by the interactions you have with the locals because you'll be experiencing things that people probably don't teach you in class. Speaking of classes, if you're looking to improve your German, French, Spanish or English, then you're in luck because today's sponsor is Lingoda. It is a 24/7 online learning language school where you can improve and practice your language with real native level language speakers in a small group or individual courses. Lingoda provides all the material you'll need before, during, and after classes. And most importantly, during your 60-minute class, you'll be focusing on speaking and improving your conversational skills, which is one of the most difficult skills to practice. Plus, the teacher will give you specific feedback and improvement points so you can progress in your language learning journey. Booking a class in Lingoda is super easy and flexible, since it is a 24-hour online school. And now Lingoda is offering a special promotion for anyone that would like to start using their platform to improve their language learning skills. And you can save up to 200 euros. So the more classes you take, the more you will save up. And if you're still in doubt about Lingoda, do not fear, because they also have a 7-day free trial where you can try out the classes and see if you like it or not. Use my code to participate and use the link in the description. Thank you so much for the sponsor and not skipping through the ad. Let's get back to the video. Now that we're done with the more serious stuff, let's move on to the more fun stuff when it comes to living abroad. If you like traveling and exploring, you'll probably know the country better than the locals. Coming from Riga, the capital of Latvia, where most of our population even lives, I was so surprised to hear how little Germans visited Berlin. Because that's the capital, everything is happening there. But to be honest, it makes sense, because Germany is a very big country, and depending on where you live, Berlin can be very far away. And there are many cities in Germany like Hamburg, Frankfurt and Munich that are big as well and have a lot of things happening there. Plus, in general, if you decide to live in Europe, there are many opportunities to travel, because Europe is very well connected. You can take trains or buses, and sometimes you can even find flight tickets that are cheaper than a restaurant meal for two. Moving abroad will definitely give you a new perspective on life. You will see other cultures' mentality and approach to their life. It can help you expand and enrich your worldview and establish your personal values. And this is much harder to do if you never lived outside your hometown. It's interesting to see how people change when you just cross a border. For example, Germans are really keen on obeying the law. But on the other side, many French people see traffic lights as some kind of decorations for the street. Personally, what I think is interesting and what I've noticed, that a lot of people that decide to study or live abroad see a lot of faults in their country, be it because of economic reasons, cultural reasons, or governmental reasons. And on the other side, there are people that were born in well-off and well-adjusted countries. And these people are very proud of their country, and they don't really understand why other people from less successful countries would like to live here. And this is not just black and white. This is an example of some people that I've met before. And in this case, I totally understand. If you come to another country, you should respect their cultures and their traditions, and you should try and learn their language. But some people really think that they're better than others because they were just born in a really nice country. And last thing that I wanted to discuss in this video is food. Food, of course, is a big part of our lives, and we need to eat it to survive. And different cultures have different food preferences and cuisine, which is not a surprise. But somehow it's always a surprise in real life, because when you go to the supermarket, you can't seem to find your favorite foods. I lived in the Netherlands for 2 years before going for a 6-month internship in Slovakia. And I got used to the fact that in normal Dutch supermarkets, I will not find things like kefir or tvarok. And when I moved to Slovakia, I was so over the moon to find these things in a Lidl next to my house. Of course, on the other hand, now you get to experience things that you can't find in your country, like a grand selection of stroopwafels or a really good cheese. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about, and good luck.
Are you filming this? Is this on the YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah? Ah, hello Erika, right? Oh, this is amazing.